the North Star is that eventually everything is going to go towards AR.
Hello, welcome to TechDiff Talks Episode 2. Our guest today is Anshul Jain, a senior director at Magic Leap, who specializes in developing hardware and software products. This company specializes in creating augmented reality glasses that superimpose 3D computer-generated images over real-world objects. I'm Ria, a driver and builder on FTC Team 7172. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm happy to be here.
Cool. Before we dive into technology, I wanted to talk to you about gracious professionalism real quick. To me, gracious professionalism is working within your team and other teams in collaboration while keeping that competitive mindset. So I was just wondering, after learning a little bit about gracious professionalism in this short definition, have you seen any instances of it in your workplace?
Oh yeah, I think every day there is teamwork involved because without teamwork nothing can be delivered. So
Hmm.
yeah, I would say I see it every day, and it's very critical for the success of the organization.
Absolutely agree because it's better when you're sharing ideas and that's how things get done. It's a lot easier to work off of one another. Completely agree. Um, Real quick, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company?
Yeah, so I'm Anshul. As you mentioned earlier, I am part of Magic Leap. I lead a team. We are called ourselves technical program managers, and in a very high level, that role means the responsibility is to work across the organization and take the product from inception, kickoff, brainstorming, all the way up to launch into the market. So everything that comes between those two bookends is what our team does. And, I think you talked about Magic Leap. It's a startup. It's almost 10, 12 years old startup, but they are into the phase of augmented reality, which is, as you mentioned earlier, showing digital content or on top of the real world content for augmented information, or various use cases are there.
Okay. Can you describe the Magic Leap glasses a little more, and what role and the near eye display technology and what role that has in Magic Leap?
Yeah, so near eye display, so let's break it up a little bit, right? So near eye display is, let's call it as a segment, right? So which means that you, as the word says, right, near eye display, you are creating a display near to your eye. Like typically when you see TV or cinema or something, right, the display is far off from you.
Hmm.
So when so in near eye display, you are putting the image or a display very close to your eye. Now, because it is very close to your eye, the brightness is very less, right? Because you don't want to blind people. So that in a very high umbrella, that's called near eye display. Now, within near eye display, there are multiple categories. One is called virtual reality, which is the products like Meta is doing, where it means that your view of a real world is blocked. Once you wear your devices, you cannot see anything in the front or out in the real world, right? All you see is what you in the devices. So
Right.
that's called virtual reality because everything you see is virtual. So that's one segment of near eye display. The another is what Magic Leap is doing. That's called augmented reality. What it means is that once you wear augmented reality glasses, now you are seeing the real world like you see with your naked eye.
Hmm.
But on top of the real world, you are adding more content. You're adding more information, right? So that's what augmented reality. You are augmenting the reality. So
Okay.
that's the second stream of it. Now there is some third stream which is called where like products like Vision, Apple's Vision Pro kind of comes, right? What they do is that they are essentially a VR device, but they have put outward facing cameras on the device. So you still don't see real world with your eyes, but what they do is that they have put cameras. So cameras are seeing the real world
Mhm.
and they are displaying the information from the camera on the screen on near to your eye. So you are kind of still seeing the real world, but you are seeing from the eyes of the camera, not your own human eyes. So
Okay.
that's the third aspect of the third segment of it. And the best product is Apple's Vision Pro, right?
Hmm.
I I believe that I think eventually the reason all these categories are there because virtual reality is in relative terms is easier to do.
Okay.
Augmented reality is very very hard to do
Mhm.
because you have to put a content display and you have to have real, it leads to a lot of optical artifacts. So because it is so hard to do, all these new categories are there. But I think the North Star is that eventually everything is going to go towards AR or augmented
Okay.
reality, right? That's the holy grail of this near eye display, but it takes time to get there.
And with Magic Leap glasses, why the augmented reality? What was the initial purpose for creating this company and creating that product?
I mean, Magic Leap has pivoted a few times already.
Okay.
So when our founder, he started the company in his garage. His vision was more consumer centric. Like you can see objects, you can see various things like gaming. Like when you are, let's say, you are driving somewhere, you see Google Maps somewhere on your screen, right around you. If
Hmm.
you are wearing these glasses, you can have a Google screen or a Google map or a direction, right in there on the glasses, so your
Right.
eyes are straight looking in the road, but you also see the directions there. So
Right.
that's a great example. Another great example is, let's say you are talking to you and me are talking, right? You want to know more about me,
Hmm.
so you can go on the LinkedIn profile, and
Hmm.
you are wearing these glasses. I can't see what you are seeing, but you can talk to me, keep your eyes at me, but at the same time you can have my LinkedIn profile as a virtual content next to you, right? So you have more information at your hand when you are talking to me.
Right. Right.
So those are some of the aspects it started. And recently they have pivoted more on the business side of it because these devices are expensive. I don't think the technology is ready for consumer space right now. So
Okay, got it. And talking about how this company has changed in the process, can you describe the iterative process during the development of the glasses and what was the most challenging part of developing the first version, and how has that changed to developing the latest
I think
version?
the biggest challenge was, and it continued to be true even today, is that is that unknowns. Think of it. A best example I can give is, and by no means building a next generation iPhone is simple, right? But still, you are building a 16th or 17th generation product. You
Hmm.
have experience of 16 products you have built, so you know what works, what not works, and you are doing. When you are building these AR devices or even VR, for example, right, you don't have that previous knowledge. Lot of things are unknown. How the user will experience it on their head, how the display would be, how the optical challenges would be. There are a lot of unknown things because these products are not done right. That is the challenge when you go into new spaces. So that is, I would say, is the biggest challenges, and the only way to do all that is try build something, right? Like you guys do in robotics, right? You build something, let it work or fail. If it fails, you figure out why it fails, and then you go back and iterate again, right? So that iterative loop of hypothesize come up with an hypothesis, work on it, build it, test it. If the hypothesis is true, great, move on. If it is failed, then you go back and go into that circle, right? So that's a way in the real world also is the same
And
theory.
so I was wondering, while making this product and developing it, were there any trade-offs between the hardware team and the software team, and how did they work with each other?
It comes down how methodical you are in root causing the problem, right? Or like
Okay.
when a problem happens, the term used is kind of you to root cause the problem,
Hmm.
why it is happening, right? And sometimes it could be hardware, sometimes it could be software. So there are a lot of techniques used. One of them is called fishbone diagram,
Hmm.
and there are multiple techniques, right? But that basically brings a little bit discipline in your root causing effort. And once you root cause it, you figure out where the problem is. A lot
Hmm.
of times it happens because software can be a little more agile. You may not have time to fix your problem because if it's a bigger hardware problem, it requires long time. You may use software's leverage to kind of band it,
Right.
do something quick so that at least you can get your work done,
Yeah.
but and take little longer to do your hardware thing, right? So that's what in the industry they call agile processes. What basically it means is how fast are you able to change things.
Okay.
So in my experience, you have to always focus on solving the problem in the right way, otherwise it always comes back and bites you in a wrong
Okay.
way.
Right.
So I think software and hardware has to work very, very closely with each other, right? And that's where I think your gracious professionalism comes into, right?
Hmm.
Instead of arguing with each other, it is a hardware problem, it is a software problem, right? If the teams are good, they have a good teamwork, they will solve the problem faster, right? And it's a painful in the short term, but it's very rewarding and useful in the long term.
Hmm. And in some teams, we come across problems where it's both a software or a hardware problem. How do you decide which one takes priority? Um, and how do you decide which one to tackle first?
I think it will depend on the on what the problem is, right? I
Okay.
think because at least the and again, not only us in the industry, right? You always create a severity of a problem. So
Hmm.
you create, let's say, S0, S1, S2, for example, right? S0 is that uh, I mean, you probably are aware of that important and urgent matrix, right? Have you probably heard of it?
Hmm.
So if the problem is it has to be solved right now and is extremely critical, you obviously prioritize that, right?
Right.
But if the problem is that, okay, it's a critical problem, but it is not important, it can wait, then you deprioritize it. Now,
Okay.
it's whether it's a hardware or software doesn't matter, right? So I think
Right.
uh, whether it's hardware or software, I think that's a secondary argument, right? The first argument is what is more prioritized
Yeah.
problem.
Right. It's good to hear that the development process and the design process is so similar in the real world as it is in our team and FTC as well. So it's pretty good to hear.
It's not easy.
Right. And what advice would you give to someone who's going down that path and considering a similar path of like
I
startup?
think my advice would be, I mean, focus on what you like,
Okay.
because success is a function of hard work and hard work is a function of how much you like that thing, right? If you
Right.
like something, if you are passionate about it, you will end up doing hard work. If you don't, then however you push yourself, you cannot do hard work. So
Hmm.
I think I would say success is because of hard work and hard work is because of your passion and how much you like something. So try to do something, especially in the early stages of your career, things that you really like, or you will change and switch directions, and all that is fine, right? It's okay if you say I like A, you work on it 2 3 years, and then you I don't like A, I like B. It's okay to switch from A to B, as long as you are true to yourself, right? That what you like is what you're working on.
Okay. Got it. Good to know. And last question. Looking ahead, what are some of the emerging technologies that you believe are the biggest impact on the tech industry in like the next 5 to 10 years? And how should students prepare for that now, if there's any way?
Well, I mean, it's a broken record, right?
Right.
It has to be AI. But advantage of AI, I think AI is gonna go what it is go do, right? I think I believe the advantage of technology because of AI would be that there are a lot of applications. Like take example of augmented reality. It
Okay.
has been companies have been trying to make it successful like for last 10 years. It was
Mm-hmm.
not successful because there was no killer app or use case or things like that. So I think what AI will do is, right, it will bring these technologies which are waiting to blow much faster. For
Okay.
example, AR, right, augmented reality glasses, AI is huge enabler to it. Like
Mhm.
for example, right, you have a camera or something. You can look at the camera. Let's say you look at a tree or something, right? You have
Right.
you have a tree, you have a small plant in your home which is dying. So
Hmm.
you use your AR glasses, you look at the camera, look at it, and now the AI can very quickly analyze the image, and it will tell why it is dying and what you should do.
Yeah.
Now you tell the user, right? So I think that's one example.
Not
So
human, not
AI is going to bring there. So I think AI obviously is going to be the kind of a horizontal technical enabler. But what I think what happen is a lot of verticals will come up, spanning from AI, that
Mhm.
will lead to innovation.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for talking with us. I think we definitely learned how much similar the two things we're doing and how the design processes are so similar and how we're working within a team and how that also reflects in what you're doing. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. Stay tuned for future episodes of TechDiff Talks. To learn more about First, visit firstinspires.org, link in description. Thank you.